Hello and good day to all our viewers and listeners. This is your host, Jyoti Kalsi, bringing to you another episode of Lessons Learned at Voice of India. Today I'm joined with Hasmita Trivedi. A warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
So Hasmita Trivedi, she's a retired teacher for 4 years now, but has served in our community with her teaching service for 32 years, 27 years at Seven Oaks School Division and 5 years at Thompson School Division. Currently, she's an entrepreneur working hand in hand with her husband in running their own family business known by Charisma Restaurant. Not to mention, she has been president for 2 years of India Association of Manitoba. Prior, she was the secretary and has been voluntarily always active in supporting whatever India Association has taken on. So again, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. I'm so excited for our conversations today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Yeah. So how's things and how are you doing?
Things are going well. Yes. India Association, as you know, is one of the longest serving organizations here in Indo-Canadian organizations in Manitoba. This year has been slow in the sense that we didn't do Folklorama because of COVID and all the restrictions, but we have been active doing things virtually online through, shows. We've been trying to keep up with our media through Facebook and letting people know things that are going on in the community.
Yeah, like I remember last time I had Ramandeep Gurwal on the show. Yes. They were talking about some of the initiative. I hope everything is going well on that end.
Yes, the COVID-19 initiative, SEVA initiative that we took on has already been in operation for a month and a half. Mm-hmm. Lots of great things have happened, and we are continuing to do great things around Diwali for the seniors, which I'll talk about later. But we do have lots of initiatives that we've been working on.
Right. So you mentioned Diwali. First of all, advanced happy Diwali to you and to all our viewers. I'm not sure if this show would be on air by then, but I wish you all a very successful, prosperous and safe happy Diwali wherever you are. So said that, I know it's going to be different this year, less gathering restrictions and, other anxiety and other fears that are related to the situations we are imposed with. How are you preparing yourself and planning to celebrate it, right?
Well, Diwali does have a different swing to it this year. I think we got through Navaratri, which was a hard one. Navaratri happened about last month, and that was a very difficult time because, we're used to big gatherings, doing the Garbas, doing the Ras Garbas. And I know that the community, and we have it every year at University of Winnipeg in the big Rex field, and a lot of people from the community come, not just Gujaratis, it's open to everyone. So that was really hard because we missed out on that this year because of restrictions. And with Diwali this year, it is going to look different now with the government saying, the new restrictions, the code red. I think it's made it even much more difficult. So the significance of all of Diwali is the good over evil, and I think that's what we're trying to get through here is, light over darkness. And I hope that people can celebrate within their families, just at home. And there is still the food, which is a big factor, the cleaning of your house, getting everything ready, the new clothes. It's going to look different, but yes, I'm hoping that we will have it at our house, but it will be on a much smaller scale.
Definitely. Although now we don't have that opportunity to go and give those wishes, I think this is the time. Make sure you call the people who are far away from you or who haven't you talked, right? It would bring a smile on their face. It would bring that relation back in a way, I was actually thinking yesterday that, these are the people I need to call because I haven't talked to them. And what else way it could be wishing them a Diwali, and trying to check on them and see how they are doing, right? Yeah. Again, safety is first. So for sure it's different, but I think we need to take this step at this time. Yeah. So again, I know you have been very passionate about keeping our cultural values. That's something you mentioned that brought you into India Association of Manitoba. So And those things that you value yourself and you felt that this is something you want to support, right? Was what else motivated
to be a part of India Association?
Yes.
Yeah, India Association. I came to know a lot more about India Association through Folklorama and how visible they were and the number of years. So India Association has been with Folklorama since basically the conception of Folklorama. So they've been there right since the beginning and always active, and they've been around in different locations. And now when I was president, we moved to the big location because where we were before, it was growing so much and the capacity wasn't there. So we moved to the convention center and it worked really well. The idea of India Association being out there in the community, helping people, and when I say in the community, not just the East Indian community, it goes beyond that. And I think that's where it's so important, is to show that you are not just there for one group, you're there for everyone. And so that whole encompassing everybody is a big factor. And that really drew my attention to it because the children were involved, which I have a passion for from my educational background, my teaching. I love children. I love to see them grow. And what better way than to see them grow within their own culture, their traditions. And so I was seeing that through India Association, and I could see that people were committed. And to me, that right there shows that when you've got a commitment from the board members, from its members, I think that's what's kept it surviving so long.
Right. So, I mean, other than just having the cultural, presence around you, it kind of gave that inspiration for your kids, and they learned it as they went and saw you being a key role in there, right?
Yes. And and I think when our children see us volunteering and they learn that whole concept of giving, whether it's giving through monetary things, whether it's money, food, whatever, but just that helping. And it doesn't have to be with something, it's just knowing that you're there to give. And so I think that when you volunteer, you're giving of yourself, you're there ready to help others, and to, whether it's for their enjoyment, whether it's for, to help them physically, whatever capacity it's in. Right. It's that helping part.
Definitely. They learn by seeing us, we become their role models, and, teaching them to give it back. I think it's powerful and surreal for them to, grow with that.
Yes. Yeah.
Value in themselves, right? So I guess now that you do say, and you wanted that to be passed on to your children as well, now that this is not available to us, again, having kids to cut back on quite a bit. You have been a teacher yourself. You have seen the psychology of kids in and out for so many years, like in a way, what they like, what is good for them, being a teacher yourself. So what do you think, like, this situation is impacting them? And
I can look at it from two perspectives. I see it from the teacher, the educator point, and I also see it from the child's, and then there's the third, the parent, who's wondering, what am I going to do now with the situation? With my 32 years of experience, I have to say that a lot of the onus comes back to the parents. What you do at home with your kids. The teachers are only with them 6 to 7 hours. And, in that time, they try their best to do what they have to do. But as a parent, you have them from after school till the next morning. And they see you on weekends and how you interact with people. And I think that's really important. So with this whole COVID situation, with kids, whether they are going to school or not, if you're keeping them at home to do remote learning or whatever you choose to do, I think the most important is to make sure that you spend the time with them. Technology nowadays, I see positive as well as negative with technology. I started teaching back in the days when computers and that was not around. I taught up north. And I love sharing this story because I think it's so valuable to see. When I taught up north, a lot of the children might have gone away for a week or two, away to go see their grandparents. But when they came back, they were there and they had the storytelling skills. They knew how to write a story. Wow. They could share. And it makes me think back to my days when I was younger. My grandfather spent so much time with us, and he would tell us stories, and those really meant a lot to me. And it was that whole storytelling. So you had a whole new way of communicating. Now I find we rely on technology too much,
Right.
and kids lose those skills. We as adults lose those skills. I find myself trapped with that some days. You can spend hours on your phone before you realize, oh my gosh, it's been an hour. I've been just kind of
Yeah.
focused in on this, and it's not important. It's like doing, Instagram, Facebook,
Right.
things that aren't a necessity. So I think, sometimes we use technology to take care of things, and I think as parents you have to be very careful. It makes me sad when I see family, when we get together with friends and they've got little ones and the kids are just glued to and playing or staring at a screen. And I think, what a way for that child. You should be communicating
Right,
and spending that time with them, because they grow up so fast. I mean, my two have grown up and I miss those days now. And so I think it's really important with this whole COVID that if you have that opportunity to be at home with your children, spend it with them, because that's the most valuable thing you could do for your children.
Right, and they, that's the connection that gets more stronger, and they get your attention rather than just the, being, I would say, complaining about it. Not that you don't want to have your kids around you, but I know at some point it gets too much on you. Right after you're done with your working from home schedule, now you're up to play another role, which you have to do regardless, I think. But again, I think looking at it on a positive side. Again, you say that there's a silver lining to this COVID situation, right? Yeah. So, I mean, what would you suggest? Like, again, like me, somebody, and many parents are in this situation. They're working from home, but they're just like overwhelmed with this being so prolonged. What tips you can give? Because you have raised two amazing daughters, and who are so well versed and are so into our culture. I would love to get some tips, and I'm sure like many mothers would like to know more.
I think we're all overwhelmed. It's not just the adult. I think for the kids too, it's hard for them, because if they are going to school, when they are there, they're within their bubble, and they are used to kind of having their space. And from my understanding from my friends who are educators, are saying that they're so restricted in school what they can do, and then they come home and that's kind of their time where it's their free space, and then we want them to keep within that area too. So I think we have to be careful, because it is overwhelming for everyone. I would suggest that with that overwhelming, you have to lay guidelines, and I think that kids need to understand that even though when you are at home, it is free space, but you should have guidelines that, you can play from this time to this time is your time, but then maybe we spend this much time together, and, there has to be a system. I believe in organization. I believe that if you are brought up in an organized home, you will be organized in your life, and organization takes away from chaos. And, and so I think that's the most important, is to lay guidelines, make sure that it's organized, make sure your children understand, you understand what the day is going to look like.
Have a schedule, basically, right?
Schedule, and
you find time for yourself and time, and have them so that. And I've noticed, like, smaller to big, like kids like a routine, so that they know when it is like all of a sudden, okay, turn off the TV, now you're on to this. They want some control on themselves, so that they feel like that I have some control on my life too. Like, I mean, I think putting in a schedule will help mothers or parents, be a mother or father, have time for themselves, and also, time for kids to prepare themselves. Okay, next step is this for me, which is an amazing tip. I guess that's a really good one. So I know you're busy with other stuff, like taking care of your parents as well in this time, which is incredible. And I think that's what they need. Like, all our elders need our attention more than ever right now. So how do you, before we explore that part, first of all, how do you find time for yourself to take care of yourself? Right?
There's, what, I enjoy the gym, but now with the new restrictions, that's kind of going to be a different thing. I enjoy my morning tea with my husband. That's the most precious time of my day, is we have that morning cup of chai, and it's so nice because it just starts your day off on a positive note. One of the things I would say is, with this whole COVID initiative, COVID-19 Seva initiative that India Association is taken on is we kind of looked at what areas we would like to target, and we feel that it's the women, it's everyone in the community, but women, especially children and seniors, who are really hard hit with this. When I say women, because you know what, we're the ones who are always doing multitasking. Women have that, it's inherited, I think, in females, is that multitasking thing, because you know, when you've got kids, you're trying to do this, you're trying to do this at the same time. So we're capable of that, but I think that's something that helps us. And so I think with that, we want to look at women and how they take it on. Children, well, that's with us helping them with the schedule. With seniors, it is difficult. I was very fortunate that when I retired 4 years ago, I had the opportunity to spend so much time with my parents. They live on their own. We did not want to put them in a nursing home. My father is 91. My mother is 90. They still live in the house that they've purchased, their bungalow. They do not ever go downstairs. Their main floor is their living space. But the nice thing is it's their space. And they have lots of support from myself, my family, and the healthcare system, which we should be very thankful for, is that that is available here in Canada. And one of the things with seniors I find is that the loneliness and the isolation. And this COVID has really opened eyes, because a lot of seniors, let's face it, technology is how we communicate, and through via Skype, Facebook. Not all seniors have access to that. So if one of us can be there to help them with that, so they can see faces, they can see the outside world, because you know, before the snow came a couple of weeks ago, I saw lots of seniors walking. It was beautiful. We had nice weather. People could go out. Now with this snow, they're scared to go out, and you know, so now they're in this spot, and they're refined in their own little space. So I think with seniors, one of the things the India Association wanted to do was we put on a concert, which was virtual, Bollywood Gharana. We had brought in the group last year. We did that this year, and we were hoping that seniors could sit at home, family members could share it with them if they weren't, didn't know how to get to that link. But these are just some of the ways that, sharing time. But I think with seniors, one of the things is they want to talk. They just want to have that conversation, someone to spend time with. They love to talk about the past, because for them, that's the memories that are most meaningful. So they want to share those memories with someone. And I think that's the most important, is that myself, any of us can do, is to spend time. Quality time is the most important.
That's what they need right now. So, and that's how we can, remove the loneliness and that bubble that they have created around themselves. That this is it. We can always have them, explore more, share our day experiences, so that they feel engaged and, kind of see some light on the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what tips are you, or what things do you do to, keep them motivated?
Right now, I'm fortunate. My brother is taken on the shift as of 2 days ago with my parents, so I get a break. But I phone them every morning, just make sure, and my mom phones me several times a day, just to make sure that everything is going okay. Food is a very important thing for seniors, because that's something they look forward to. So I think it's important to make sure that they have the proper meals that they're used to. Spending time. Now we're fortunate. When we came to Canada 53 years ago, there wasn't all these Indian channels, but now we're fortunate that it is available through a box that you buy, or whether it's through your channels that you purchase. But people can connect with with others. It's amazing when you're watching news and people in India are watching the same news, they're going, "Oh, well, you're watching. Yeah, we're watching exactly what you're watching." And so it's like you feel like you're there, So I think that's really important, is to show them that there is still lots of communication, and that you can have via phone, whatever it is, to access and to be able to communicate.
For sure. That's the need, right? So do you feel at all, like, although you are there with them most of the time and giving them support, like, are you thinking that there's still more to be done, or something else should have been made available?
That's a beautiful question because I lie in bed many times thinking about this. My husband and I went to Saskatchewan many years ago, and we looked at a facility there that they've set up. It's set up by some South Indian doctors who had come, and they've opened up a house, and it's for parents who have come from India, and it's an East Indian kind of a nursing home. And the food is available and all. If you're asking me that, my dream, and we looked at this, and I know people here in the community are looking at trying to build some kind of a home where our people can go, and I want like a nursing home, a get-together place, a facility.
I see.
We went to New Jersey many years ago, my husband and I, and we they have a beautiful program for seniors where they have the government supports it, and what they do is they call it daycare. And so if for my parents, let's say if I was working still and my parents were capable of going, they would have someone come pick them up, and then they would go to the next house and all. They would go to a community center. They've got beds, they've got TVs, and the men, as usual, would gather and they'd tell all their stories and jokes, and all the women would be over there knitting, doing what they love to do, cleaning the rice, doing those. And then they've hired a cook who cooks an Indian meal. And then they take them show them old movies from years ago, take them out on outings to the malls, to the outlet malls there that they have. Those are the kind of things they did, and I thought, what a beautiful way, because they'd come home at the end of the day, they'd be home, they'd drop you at home, and then I would say to that uncle, I'd say, what did you do today? And he was so excited to tell me the meals that they ate, what food they had, what shows they watched, the movies, or he'd say, today we went bowling, and and then he'd tell me about so-and-so's son who's getting married, and it's such a beautiful way of communicating. So to me, that would be my dream, is to have something like that in Winnipeg in the future, in the near future, so that we could all take part in it.
For sure, and I see it how it would be playing in a way they get to sit with their own age mates. It's just like a 2-year-old would have more fun when he's surrounded with his age mate rather than playing with a teenager, because those, although they would love to hear from their grandkids, that's a different story, right? But when they sit with their own age mate and they share their own story, it's kind of, I can totally see how that could be a really good way of
it was
giving them a totally
program.
different environment, and they step out of the house. It's not just them walking alone with their partner in the mall, and which is like everyday thing, and how long you can enjoy it for, right? So I think so is it something on India Association of Manitoba's agenda moving further? Like, I know it's hard to do so many things that your team would want to do at this point, but what's coming up, or what's
we're hoping to, we've discussed it, and we've looked at ways that we can get everyone involved, including the seniors. I think the Hindu Senior Center does a lovely job of incorporating that, and our Hindu society, like the temples, the gurdwaras, they do a beautiful job of involving the seniors. And right now, with the restrictions, with all that being closed, I think it's so sad with Diwali, because that was something that people love to do. Is Diwali, was something that you could go to the temple, you could go to the gurdwara, you could see people, and everyone could be dressed, and it's such a festive time, and there's fireworks and things. So it's going to be kind of sad that we won't be able to do that this year.
So again, like as I mentioned earlier to you, like I would love to inbuild those cultural values, have him say in some way, my son, when I say him, like those cultural Indian values. So give some tips or some lessons for young generation like us who's listening and would want to use those tips for themselves.
Well, I again would say I'm very fortunate that I grew up in Canada. I came here many years ago when I was young, but my parents instilled a lot of good values and the culture in us, and they continued to speak to us in Gujarati at home. The house, you could tell, we had our own little temple. My mom did the prayers every morning. We spoke in our language. I would see my mom dressed, and that made me proud. And so I carried that on with my children. And so both my girls were born here in Winnipeg, and now they're full adults, both of them. And they love the culture. And I think that, again, we are their role models, and what they see us do, children will do. So I think it's most important in your home is that you use the language that, whether it's Gujarati, Hindi, Punjabi, they need to see that. They need to see that you're proud of who you are. You need to share those experiences with them. For Diwali, we do in my house, the divas are set up, we have the prayers, we do the things, the traditional, the food, all of that happens, and they see that, and they see that, you get blessings from your elders and what that means. And I think that is really important for children to see that, so that they will carry on those traditions. And I must confess that I was, my children were involved with Gujarati school, and both my girls speak, and they speak it, they read it, and they write it, which I'm sad I didn't have the opportunity, because at that time there wasn't a school in Thompson where I was growing up, or in Saskatoon. We didn't have a Gujarati school, but here in Winnipeg we have that, and both my girls, they speak and they read and write it. So
that's incredible.
An example, yesterday actually, my father and mother wanted to give us our Diwali cards and envelopes, and in there my dad wrote a beautiful message at the age of 91, with his writing, and there was in English a bit, and then there was in Gujarati. And in English, my dad always says, "Be happy, healthy, and keep smiling." That's his famous quote. And then there was a message. My daughter was there, and I said to her, "Can you read this to me? Because I can't read it."
Wow.
So, I mean, these are very proud moments. And, and of course, my husband, Mitesh, has been a big influence in this. It hasn't been just me. It takes both of you to be on the same page when you raise your children.
Definitely.
So that makes a big difference. But these are proud moments when you can say that your children have gone above you and they have outshone. And so these are very proud moments as a parent. So I think that that's really important, that we instill those values in our children.
Yeah. So I would say that's a proud mom to be, right? That they have outdone, and you've done a great job. So I want to be mindful of our viewers' time and yours as well, but just want to close it on a quick question, that how you being involved in India Association has groomed you. What you have, again, you're still part of it, not that you have left it, and how it has groomed you along this way.
Well, I started off as a volunteer, and we all laugh because when we're at board meetings or something, we all start off as volunteers. The next thing you know, it's like you just get pulled in, but it's a nice pull in, because then you see, and I think for me, it's groomed me to see beyond, my house, behind my walls. You go beyond into the community, and I think that's really important, is you learn that at the end of the day, we're all humans. We all make mistakes, but we all carry on. And I think that that's really important to learn, and India Association understands that we have to go beyond, and we're involved with University of Winnipeg through the India Center. We're involved, with Hindu seniors. We're involved with many organizations, just to kind of keep the flow going. And and this year, I know that when we took food to the schools and helped out in those ways through our COVID initiative, helping out to different sheltered homes, women's homes and stuff, that makes you realize that, India Association is on the right track. They're looking beyond.
Looking out for community.
And looking out for community.
Everybody who needs help, right?
Yes.
And I guess you guys did some donation for Harvest as well.
We did Harvest. We've done many. And we have our singing where we do our karaoke nights. And when we do our karaoke events, we always look at an organization, whether it's through Cancer Care, March of Dimes. We've helped Alzheimer's. Like, there's just so many organizations out there that need help. So I think that that's really important, is that you need to know that there's many ways you can help. Whether, and again, it doesn't have to be through financial ways, but there's other ways you can help them. So I think that's really important. And I would be missed if I didn't thank Red Cross, who has given us, we've been awarded with a grant that we can do all this, because at the end of the day, things do cost, and we can do the labor work, we can do the volunteer, but you do need funds. So there's Red Cross, and there's also the Employment and Social Development of Canada. They helped us quite a bit. So I think it's important I recognize their ability and enabling us to
Support,
carry
right? Yeah.
carry on with this as well.
All right, Hasmita ji, it was amazing having conversation with you. I guess I enjoyed every bit of it. Again, I would like to thank you all the listeners and viewers for tuning in. Wish you a very happy Diwali and stay safe. Take care of yourselves.
Happy Diwali.
Thank you.